Hi, I'm Franco Luna Puma Podcast. You're listening to Teka Teka News, balitang thinking, hindi breaking. In this episode,
The root of this proposal for lifetime validity of ID is the bureaucratic practices within the LGU that in the implementing rules and regulation, we only have two requirements, which is disability certificate and a picture. But when we go to LGU, a lot of requirements, including voters' ID, and so that makes it hard for every person with disability to renew their IDs.
we talk about the pain of getting PWD cards renewed every 3 years, a topic that's very close to my heart. The voice you heard earlier was from former senatorial candidate Carmen Zubiaga. She's a PWD advocate who struggles with polio. She was speaking before the House Special Committee on Persons with Disabilities. The committee was tackling bills pushing for the lifetime validity of PWD IDs. Here's why that's important.
It's your basic right, and the law says that you're entitled to it. It's as simple as that. The law says you're entitled to these discounts, the law says you're entitled to these benefits, and the only way for you to get these benefits is through the ID. They won't give you an ID if you're not a voter of the diba? And you know where that is coming from. That's coming from the desire of the LGU to survive the next election.
That was PWD Philippines Executive Director RP Lazaro. Now see, under the law, registered seniors and PWDs are given a 20% discount on meds and basic necessities, plus exemption from value-added tax. It also gives them privileges like priority lanes, disability parking, wheelchair-friendly restrooms, and seats on public transportation. As it stands though, the cards issued only by local governments have to be renewed every 3 years. Bale, to make sure you're still disabled or that you still live in the same city. But for mobility-impaired PWDs, even just getting to the hospital and city hall is a problem. Never mind that even proving your disability costs money.
Yung pong effect noon sa aming finances napakalaki. Sa mga magulang na may mga anak na may kapansanan like autism, Down syndrome, yung mga permanent na non-apparent na hindi nakikita, napakahirap din po. Ang mahal po na assessment para po magkaroon ng dokumento ang isang batang may autism. Sabi nga nung nakaraan parang 5,000 to 25,000. Kung every year or every 3 years, i-renew namin yung pahirap po yun sa ating ordinaryong pamilyang Pilipino.
That's PWD advocate Lalaine Guanzon. She's wheelchair-bound. Leaders in the community have a point. Many PWDs have lifetime ailments like pre-existing birth defects, permanent blindness, or deafness from lost body parts. Others have non-apparent disabilities that aren't always obvious, like me. We're pausing for a quick break. When we return, more on the bigger issues that affect PWD card applications.
Napakakonti lang po ng ating mga developmental doctors. Karamihan nasa Manila lang po yan. Wala po yan sa barangay. Kaya ang dami pong mga magulang o mga batang may kapansanan na walang PWD ID na hindi po nakaka-avail ng mga privileges at mga kung ano man yung dapat para sa amin.
That was PWD advocate Lalaine Guanzon again. Fake PWD ID cards have also been a problem in the past, though technology should be at a point where this is easily fixed. But that's only if local governments have your data. Thing is, they don't. Once upon a time, the Department of Health was in charge of the national database for PWDs. It tracked cards issued by the Department of Social Welfare and Development and the National Council for Disability Affairs. But in 2017, the responsibility of issuing cards was handed over to city governments. And as we know, they have a tendency to work in silos. Here's PWD Philippines RP Lazaro again.
There's so much of these rare diseases that the DOH has not even identified them. And there is no set criteria of what disease is there to be considered as a person with disability, because there's just so much in terms of disability that they have not bothered to write down a set of uh, categories or criterias. Nobody's ever done that because we do not have that set protocol, that established way of giving the ID, because every LGU does it differently.
The screening for cards also varies from city to city. Some LGUs have a mostly discretionary way of issuing IDs, and some PWDs resort to fake medical certificates signed by unauthorized doctors. There are also afflictions that qualify as disabilities in some LGUs, but not in others. HIV, for example, would pass in Quezon City, but not in Makati. Weird, diba? Here's RP Lazaro again.
In the first place, that should not have happened, because originally it was with the DSWD, and they already had the Department of Health's registry for PW. They already had pwd.doh.gov.ph. They already had that existing a website. You're giving responsibility to people who have no idea what they're supposed to do. What I'm trying to say is the problem is they gave the job to the wrong people. Because if you give it to the LGU, and the LGU will start doing their own thing, imagine integration among LGU. How is that possible? They cannot even agree on traffic rules. They cannot even agree on the window hours for the coding.
Teka. Bago matapos yung episode, may request kami sa inyo. Hi, I'm Mark from the Puma Podcast audio team. If you've enjoyed listening to Puma Podcast, maybe you've thought, how can I support them? Now all you have to do is go to pumapodcast.com. You'll find a link there to our Puma Patak jar. Give whatever you can. Salamat and Merry Christmas.
To date, some 33 provinces, 25 cities, and 282 municipalities around the country are still without PWD affairs offices, or PDAOs. Even though it's required by law. RP from PWD Philippines says it starts with changing how we see people with disabilities.
It's not just because we don't have enough doctors. It's because we do not have the awareness. Outside, even among rich families in Metro Manila, the educated ones, or so we think, no? The stigma is still there. Nahihiya sila na may anak sila na may disability. Nahihiya sila. The Filipino culture in general is very cruel to persons with disabilities. Totoo yan, very cruel with a capital C. Because we don't know what it is. People are always afraid of things they don't understand. And nobody understands disabilities more than the persons who have it.
I'm lucky enough to have renewed my card in a city whose PDAO is run by PWDs themselves, who allowed me to go through the whole process online. My neurologist also let me consult over Zoom before issuing me a certificate. But I'm the exception to the case, and I shouldn't be. And that was today's episode of Teka Teka. Again, I'm Franco Luna. This episode was edited by Mark Casillan and produced by Kat Ventura. If you like this episode, share it with a friend or two. And of course, don't forget to follow Teka Teka and Puma Podcast wherever you listen. At para sa mga mahilig manood sa YouTube, Puma Podcast na rin po kami doon. Just search Puma Podcast and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for listening.